it's a party on the front stretch. NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series racing action and the honor of becoming a champion. We'll come back live on Flow Racing because up next is the Ag South Farm Credit 150. It's the NASCAR Modifieds and a championship on the line next on Flow Racing.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina is a city with a rich history of reinventing itself. Here you can wine and dine back in time, or raise a glass to the future. Witness history in the making, or savor the present moment. That's why you'll love visiting Winston-Salem. Our past is present, our future is bright, and our city is yours to explore. Look forward. Travel back to Winston-Salem.
Hey, race fans, make sure you catch the NASCAR Cup Series at Daytona this evening to see if Ryan Blaney can finish inside the top 12. The top 12 finish for Blaney unlocks 12% off online at shop.advanceautoparts.com on this upcoming Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time when you use the code Blaney12. Once again, that's code Blaney12 at shop.advanceautoparts.com.
Man, I dig that. That's a pretty cool contest.
That is.
There's Zach Orr getting a congratulations from Corey Latham, and what a party it was down there. We were just watching under commercial break, and you know, we didn't get to see much of Zach Orr's interview there because it was only like 2 sentences long, and Randy went back to him while we were under commercial. Look at this mob scene here, okay? If we could zoom out a little bit here, you can really see what is becoming one of the craziest mosh pits of a victory lane photo that I've ever seen. Look at this.
And also of note, I don't know how many of you all watching at home caught the big check that Orr and company are holding, but Orr also won the Top Gun
Award. Oh, there's the congratulations from
well.
Tommy Neal. Tommy Neal, the big man in the red and black suit, the legend 54-time winner, congratulating your champion.
What does it mean to be a champion at Bowman Gray Stadium? That.
Yes,
just that.
Getting a legend walking up to you and congratulating you is you know, hey, that's a stamp right there. And you know, Zach Orr, you know, he's a guy that has been a lightning bolt to controversy at times. He's a guy that is, I've said it before, is probably one of the hardest chargers and most aggressive race car drivers at the stadium, and now he gets to become a champion. Guess what's next? All these people are leaving, and they are going to push the NASCAR Modifieds onto the track. Let's take a quick break on Flow Racing, and we'll be back with all of it.
Hey race fans, it's Ryan Blaney, driver number 12, Advance Auto Parts Ford Mustang, letting you know about a new offer from Advance Auto Parts. This season, whenever I finish a NASCAR Cup Series race in the top 12, Advance will give you 12% off your next online purchase. Make sure you're following Advance Auto Parts on social media for more details.
Welcome back to coverage of the Welcome back to coverage of the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series live from Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina on Flow Racing. I'm James Pike alongside Matthew Dillner as the Modifieds, the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Series have taken to the racetrack. We are still clearing out the festivities from Zach Orr's championship celebration and the law offices of John Barrow's Sportsman Series, but soon the Modifieds will head to the racetrack for 150 laps of action to close out their season.
They're still taking pictures back there, but look at Zach Orr's car. You see it right there, the 55, nosed into the wall. Alongside is the teen car of T. Dawson, Carolina Cowboys machine. But that Pulse Vodka car has confetti all over it, champagne all over it. I'll tell you what, that might be, since Justin Taylor's championship, that might have been the coolest celebration I've seen here in a long time. I'm telling you, he brought it.
Diecast nerd that I am, I would not be mad about that. Turned into
oh, there's Derek Prensiglio. Look at him down there. Derek Prensiglio shooting him, get in the car.
Right, but I wouldn't be mad about that getting turned into a race win championship diecast, and especially now that Lionel has the late model mold.
Yeah, true.
So you can make a pretty accurate representation of that Pulse Vodka 55 now. So they will eventually get the opportunity to move the 55, the 15, the 21, and we'll get the modifieds in place for 150 laps of action here at Bowman Gray Stadium.
This is one of the great traditions, though, Pike. Right here, what we see. You see it at the opening race, the Hayes Jewelers 200, and now we see it now. This is a time for your teams to be showcased. The drivers walk out alongside the cars, and the cars are pushed to the starting grid, old school, by the crew. This is a tradition. This place is full of so many traditions, right? This is one of the great traditions of Bowman Gray Stadium. The pageantry, the theatrics that is the season finale. And there is your points leader, Burt Myers. Myers, can he hang on and win this championship? He's got a good points lead, but 26 points can evaporate really quickly if something goes wrong.
And when you think about Burt Myers' year, he's been very consistent when that car has run well. But when there have been mechanical issues, that's when he's lost points. So Brandon Ward enters this evening 26 behind, Chris Fleming 39, and Tim Brown 95. Those are the four drivers that are mathematically eligible.
Yep.
Realistically, it would take a lot of craziness for Tim Brown to jump into the fight. But Brandon Ward, Chris Fleming, if something happens to Burt, it's not impossible that those two may jump back into it. And remember just 1 year ago what happened between Tim Brown and Junior Snow and how that championship battle flipped on its head, how Tim had been in control for about 3/4 of this race last year. And then those two make contact. They break the rear suspension on Tim's car, and all of a sudden, Brandon Ward, who had not won a race at all up to that point, found himself in position to take advantage, and take advantage he did. He won his first track title. Incidentally, Brandon Ward this year is now fighting for the Top Gun Award. He's tied with Burt Myers. So all the wins he didn't get last year when he won the title, he's picked them up this year instead.
Well, we're looking at the #1 car of Burt Myers, who is going to start in the catbird seat. Okay, there's no better starting position than starting position #1, and the #1 is there because of a lap of 13.278 miles per hour in Brad's Golf Cars Modified qualifying. And this is one of the races where you start heads up. There's no Madhouse scramble. There's no redraw. So right now you've got the Goliaths starting up at the top. Before we give you the starting lineup, let's go take a quick commercial break.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina is a city with a rich history of reinventing itself. Here you can wine and dine back in time, or raise a glass to the future. Witness history in the making, or savor the present moment. That's why you'll love visiting Winston-Salem. Our past is present, our future is bright, and our city is yours to explore. Look forward. Travel back to Winston-Salem.
Bowman Gray Stadium is packed once again on a Saturday night, and for good reason. The NASCAR Brad's Golf Cars Modifieds have entered the arena. The crews now, after final preparations, have walked off the track, and the drivers are tightening their belts and getting ready for 150 laps under a beautiful night sky in North Carolina to decide not just the winner of the Ag South 150, but a champion. The Goliaths are all there. The fastest cars are starting up front. Chrome horns, Nerf bars, big tires, big headers, and folks, big drama sometimes follows. Let's give you the starting lineup for the Ag South Farm Credit 150 live on Flow Racing. Starting on the pole, a 96-time winner at Bowman Gray Stadium, the Citrus Safe #1 from Walnut Cove, North Carolina. It's the ace, Burt Myers. To the outside of the Myers brothers, front row is the QRC HVAC and Refrigeration #4, 41-time winner at the stadium. It is Jason Myers.
Starting in third, the Rocket out of Tobaccoville, North Carolina. The number 83 Hayes Jewelers machine, piloted by the 12-time Bowman Gray Stadium track champion Tim Brown. And starting in fourth out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, the number 16 Taylor Auto Centers machine, driven by Chris Fleming.
Starting fifth tonight after a 3-win season in the Wahlberg Pizza and Grill #75, it's the great Lee Jeffries to the outside, contending for a title. Your defending champion of the division, the Q104.1 machine for Brandon Ward.
Starting in the seventh position, the 69 Black Sand Company machine out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, two-time winner of the Brad's Golf Cars Modifieds this season at the Madhouse, John Holloman IV. And starting on the outside, the big race game hunter out of Mooresville, North Carolina, the North American Construction #57 of Danny Bone.
Amanda Tucker, Muddy Creek Motorsports, the famed white and orange #5 starts ninth. It is the great veteran Randy Butner, alongside the young, hungry race car driver from King, North Carolina, the Wagner Appliances #7. It's the Snowman, Junior Snow.
Starting 11th, the newest feature winner in the history of Bowman Gray Stadium, the number 10 Wiley X machine out of King, North Carolina. It's Mike Sweeney. And starting in 12th, in the 99 machine out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, the Surrey Chemicals machine of Jordan Fleming.
The next row consists of generational stars. On the inside, the S&P Lemonade #6, fourth generation superstar. It's Slate Myers. To the outside in the Lawrence Legacy LLC #14, it is young Trey Hutchins.
Starting in 15th, the 00 out of Monroe, North Carolina, the Crossroads Body Shop machine, the Flying Taco, who you can also see a feature on the Flow Racing social media if you saw that earlier today. Danny Probst starts at 15th. To his outside out of Kernersville, North Carolina, the M&M Transport #44 of Daniel Beeson.
Starting 17th tonight, this driver hailing from Jonesville, North Carolina. She's a badass, a cancer survivor, and folks, she's piloting the Phoenix Packaging Machine, the #77 for the lovely Susan Harwell. To the outside, another generational star in the Muddy Creek Motorsports #35. It's the Brandon Butner.
Starting in 19th, the number 39 T-Time Sports and Spirits car out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Gerald Robinson Jr. And rounding out the top 20, it's the real deal out of Walkertown, North Carolina, and the breakfast time 07 Riley Neal.
The final row tonight consists of the Actonville, North Carolina driver all the way from Ohio. That is the number 88 for Johnny Lightning Mordock. And to the outside, bringing up the rear of the field from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in the Myers Brothers Racing Machine, the number 41 for the Flying Beret, Corey LeVay.
That is your 22-car field for tonight's Ag South Farm Credit 150 here at Bowman Gray Stadium. Tim Brown has the most wins in this race all time in stadium history. He's got 5 wins in this 150-lapper. As the lights are off on the modern Chevrolet pace car, and next time they make it to the north turn, Jimmy Apser will pull that car into its place in the middle of the north turn, and we'll go green for 150 laps as Burt Myers begins the search for Bowman Gray Stadium Track Championship #11.
The lights are out of the pace car. The famed Myers brothers are on the front row. Lee Jeffries has slowed. We will not come to green. Trouble on the white #75. Wahlberg Pizza and Grill Machine. Brad's golf car's on the side of that 75, and that car refires, luckily. But now it goes to the pit area.
It goes to the pit area as the lights are on the pace car. Your other winningest drivers in the history of this race. Burt Myers has the opportunity to tie Tim Brown tonight. He's got 4 wins in this 150 lapper. Then Jonathan Brown, Gary Myers, and Brandon Ward all have 3 wins in this race. So Burt's with the opportunity to tie Tim's record of 5 wins in this race and to close within 1 track championship of being the all-time winningest driver in terms of track titles at Bowman Gray. Tim's got it right now with 12. If Burt can get it done tonight, he's 1 behind and could tie Tim for that record as early as next year.
All the record books here may begin with the name Flock, but right now they end with the names like Brown, the names like Myers. 76 years, 75 seasons of NASCAR auto racing here at the famed quarter mile. And you don't say tradition matters? Look at this crowd on a Saturday night in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Folks, this may be the end of our season, but visit Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a great city, lots of great things to do. But during the summer, from spring to August, this is where you need to be.
This is exactly where you want to be. No place like it on planet Earth. As the one to go comes from the flag stand. The lights are off the modern Chevrolet pace car. And Matthew Dillner, we are ready for the start of the season finale for the Brad's Golf Cars Modifieds. Next time by, we'll get the green flag for the Ag South Farm Credit 150.
The most powerful cars in NASCAR auto racing. And NASCAR's original division at NASCAR's original weekly series track. The Myers brothers will lead it to green. These are the drivers that live by the grace of God and 600 horsepower. The Ag South Farm Credit 150 is underway.
The Myers brothers are relatively even. They'll take the top 2 spots. Tim Brown works his way third in line behind Jason Myers. Chris Fleming hanging tough on the outside. John Holliman already in line there, but the battle initially is going to be between Brown and Fleming. Brown to the inside, Fleming to the outside, and Brown trying to take advantage of that inside tight lane to get the track position on Fleming and go to third outright.
What a job by the showstopper, Chris Fleming, and the Taylor Auto Parts car hanging on for dear life on the outside. That's not easy to do, folks, here at a tight quarter mile with the high horsepower modifieds. Now, John Holliman's car comes to life as he pokes underneath the number 16. Holliman had a really strong morning practice and really likes the way that 69's rolling.
Holliman gets the pass on Chris Fleming. Brandon Ward is there, and now here's the problem for Chris Fleming. Now that he starts falling a little bit further back in the field, it gives these drivers on the inside the opportunity to close up the gap. You can see Danny Bone right on the rear bumper of Brandon Ward. Randy Butner right on the rear bumper of Danny Bone. There's no gap for Chris Fleming to get back down to the inside, and even though he started in the 4th position, he's already fallen back to about 7th or 8th, and that could go even further depending on how Junior Snow and Randy Butner race. But Butner finally is going to be the one that lets Chris Fleming in line, and Fleming finds himself in the 7th position, so -3 spots on that start for Chris Fleming.
Everybody in the building, everybody in the grandstands, I think it's just finally exhaled after a wild sportsman division race of 40 laps and drama that unfurled in front of us live on Flow Racing. Now we hit the crux moment of the night, the featured division at the Madhouse. But we finally breathe easy because the cars are single file and we have a 150 lap modified race. This isn't a barroom brawl. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon.
It is a marathon indeed. Can also tell you that Brandon Butner pulled his machine to the pit area. For the Brandon Butner fans out there watching on Flow Racing, your driver has gone off the racetrack, and that leaves us with 21 cars working their way around the famed quarter mile. Burt Myers and Jason Myers in control this early. Tim Brown settled into that 3rd spot, and John Holliman, who's been so fun to watch, hasn't run every race this year, but Holliman's been the one to stir the straw in the drink on many occasions, and he took a little look to the inside of Tim Brown early there, and I imagine that battle will start to get very interesting over the next few laps.
Yeah, I mean, Holliman, his car is being worked on by his crew, and one of the people working on his crew is is one of the hottest young modified drivers in the Southeast right now. And Carson Lofton, who has 5 wins on the Smart Modified Tour. And he's actually spending his Saturday nights at Bowman Gray Stadium working on that car. And they think they found something this morning that they're very happy with, getting drive off the corner in that number 69. So, you know, I kind of earmarked him as somebody to look out for, to be one of those spoiler guys that could go up there and take the win from one of the big Goliaths and one of the big headline makers.
The drive off the corner isn't bad, but usually when you've got a strong car at Bowman Gray Stadium, that shows up on corner entry. You're able to drive in deeper than everyone else around you. And that's what I'm noticing about Holloman's car early. He's gaining about half a car length on corner entry every single time they go through the north or the south turns on Tim Brown. Now, Brown's starting to do the same thing to Jason Myers. I wonder if the handling may be falling away a little bit on Myers' black and orange QRC HVAC machine. But for now, John Holloman starting to make up some ground. Started this race in the 7th spot, already up to 4th. And Brandon Ward, by the way, also there too.
Well, with only 22 modifieds in the starting field, that means Tim Brown is now mathematically eliminated, now down to 21. So Tim Brown, the 3rd place car, the orange and blue Hayes Jewelers machine you see on your screen right there, he doesn't have a championship to worry about. Now he wants to go up there and get historic win 102 and further pad his lead as the king of wins here at Bowman Gray Stadium.
It's a fun battle because Burt Myers has been nipping on his heels. Said at the beginning of the season that with the way that car was running, that maybe they get to 100 wins before somebody else didn't quite work out that way. No. But Burt will be there at some point. I feel like that's a safe statement to make. It's a matter of when, not if, with the way that car consistently has speed week in and week out.
But where will Tim Brown be at that point is the big question.
Right.
You know, you're talking about a guy. Oh, we have Gerald Robinson Jr. in a plume of smoke off of turn number 2, and the Robinson car has spun around and caused the yellow. The Robinson car was here last week, but he had some mechanical issues. But great to see him back. And Junior Snow's crew worked on that Tea Time Sports and Spirits 39 with Gerald till 6 in the morning this morning to try to get this crew, this car ready. And Gerald brought it up to me today. He's like, man, you know, you mentioned my sponsors, right? Can you do me a favor and mention that? Because that's true sportsmanship from a competitor that's parked right next to me. You know, their crew helping me get my race car back to the track until 6 in the morning. That's the things that you don't see in the score sheet. That's the things that people don't realize when I say the unmistakable soul that is here at Bowman Gray Stadium. That's the stuff that people don't know.
There are a lot of cases like that up and down pit road. I think of Junior Snow swapping out the engine earlier in the season is another good example of that. And incidentally, Snow also just went back to the pit area too.
Oh, he did.
So Snow getting that car worked on, but just a lot of cases. And yes, you know,
the 99 giving Brandon Ward a ride when he blew his engine earlier this year, or he would have not been in this points race. So yeah, you're right. There's been a lot of those.
And yes, you know, there are some teams that do have more money than others at Bowman Gray Stadium, but for most of the field, it's a labor of love. And there are a lot of cases where you've got some hard-nosed racers. The NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series, as the choose cone comes out, Jason Myers goes topside. John Holloman will head high. Danny Bone will start on the high line. Mike Spini will go to the outside, as will the 99 of Jordan Fleming, as will Trey Hutchins, as will the 44 machine of Daniel Beeson and Gerald Robinson Jr.
Well, once again, it's the brothers Myers that will lead them to green. Will we see a little bit of cat and mouse game here now that we're 23 laps in? Had a clean initial start. The Myers boys go to the loud pedal together off of turn number 4. A great display of driving there by both Walnut Cove, North Carolina drivers. The 4 rockets off the turn and closes the door on the rocket, but then comes the chrome horn slightly by the 83.
Brandon Ward has the spot. Oh, John Holloman was so crossed up on corner entry. He really had to work the steering wheel just to keep that thing pointed in the right direction. The problem is that Brandon Ward now has the preferred lane on the inside. Didn't get a great run off the corner. Holloman's doing a nice job of pinching Brandon Ward down to make sure he can't build up momentum on corner exit. but Holloman's on that high line, and we saw earlier from Chris Fleming, that's not the place you want to be as Ward completes the pass and goes to fourth.
Well, they washed off the surface a few weeks ago after a demolition derby and actually put a detergent down to do so, and a lot of drivers kind of complained that that took some of the rubber away, that took some of the racing groove away, and we just are starting to see that outside groove come in again. But I'll tell you what, it is not a comfortable place to be for John Holloman right now. It was one of the faster cars in the field, but Danny Bowman to the inside, the New Jersey native, third-generation driver. His grandfather, Parker Bowman, a stalwart in the New Jersey modified wars, especially his father as well, Eddie Bowman. But Danny Bowman getting by John Holloman. Can Holloman close the door? He does in front of Mike Spini, just so narrowly. Spini to the back bumper of the 69, who slides off of turn 4.
Accordion effect there. John Holloman was not happy with Danny Bowman. Got into the back of Bowman, but Spini was already there, and now Spini is starting to put the bumper to Holloman's machine. Holloman almost got turned in the center of the corner, but Holloman finds himself as a Southerner in between two Northeastern drivers. Spini with the Pennsylvania ties, Bowman with the Jersey ties, and now Holloman's going to let Spini go to the high line to potentially make the pass.
That was the Russ Wheeler. That was the Russ Wheeler. Go to the top. You want to get by me? You're not going to bump your way or hit by me. I'll give you the top if you want to earn it. And that's a little old school racing right there between Spini and Holloman.
Could be potentially very smart from Holloman because Spini's not been able to complete the pass yet, and all the while, both of those two and all the drivers behind them continue to lose ground to Danny Bowman. It's about a quarter of a corner now as they all check up there, and now it's a full straightaway because Spini finally did make the pass, but did it slow up everybody in the back half of this field at that moment?
Let's set the cards for you. 150 lap race, 35 laps on the board. A Riverhead Raceway 35 lapper would be complete right now, but Burt Myers is your leader. Jason Myers in the number 4 is second. Third place for Tim Brown. Fourth place, Brennan Ward. Fifth place, Danny Bowman. Sixth place, Mike Spini. Seventh place, John Holloman the fourth. Seventh place, the showstopper, Chris Fleming. Eighth place for the great veteran, Randy Butner. Ninth place for Slate Myers, and 10th for Jordan Fleming.
There are your top 10 drivers. Good look at the lead pack right now. It's the top 4 all in tow. Danny Bowman has started to close the gap to Brandon Ward a little bit. Mike Spini is starting to draw that gap back as well. So Bowman has pace, Spini has pace, and then there's this battle that Randy Butner leads a little bit further back.
Yeah, that is a great battle. The rookie is all over Randy Butner right now, laying the bumper to him. But right behind him is a young race car driver that started the season oh so strong in that number 99 car, usually driven by Crab Smith. Well, Crab Smith's son had a wedding, so he couldn't be here tonight. They gave the wheel to Jordan Fleming, who started the season with a grouping of top 10 runs and really started strong. But that is a family operation that he drove in, and they couldn't really afford to race for the rest of the season. So a great opportunity for Jordan Fleming in that number 99, the Crab Smith machine tonight here at Bowman Gray.
Jordan Fleming with a really, really strong race car. If he could just get the track position, it could get fun. But it might have to keep his eyes ahead of him on the racetrack and see what happens between Butner and Slate Myers. That's about the second or third time that Myers has gotten into Randy Butner over the last 5 or 6 laps. So we could see a fun battle develop there. Meanwhile, we are seeing the gap continue to close with Danny Bowman and Mike Spini on the front 4.
You know, that was interesting between Randy Butner and the driver of the number 6, because that's a young race car driver that's hungry and he's getting to the back bumper. But just because you make it to the bumper of a race car does not mean that if you get to the bumper of the number 5 that you'll be able to pass him. And Randy Butner knows that that's a young kid, and he's slowing down the corner when he does get bumped, so he ensures that he can't get by him unless he completely runs him over. So that's a little bit of that's some lessons that Slate Myers is learning in his racecraft here at Bowman Gray from the veteran, and gets into him. We've got a spinner in the infield. Luke Smith goes around. Luke Smith slides, and he is safe in the infield grass.
Almost wanted to pay a visit potentially to the modern Chevrolet Pace vehicle.
Yeah.
He stopped about right in front of him.
Matt Stricker behind us, our producer here in the booth with NASCAR, just said he's to the 40, he's to the 50, he's to the 30, and he is safe.
And now he's going the other way. He gets turned around.
Oh,
I think of the Kevin Harlan call from the game a few years ago.
Yeah. I just love the battle we were watching, though. Because, you know, Randy Butner, I was just having a conversation today with Riley Neal, one of the hot young rookies in this division. And he was, you know, we actually talked about how much he respects Randy Butner, the driver of the white number 5. And, you know, because he's been here for so long, and the way he races and the way he teaches lessons subtly, and you saw that with he and Slate Myers there, that, you know, he probably wasn't happy getting his head jerked by some of those hard shots. But he was also kind of teaching him a little bit of a lesson at Bowman Gray.
Now, if you want to learn something about how to run a modified at Bowman Gray, there are a few people to find that are better in the garage for that for anybody. He's a former adjunct professor at Forsyth Tech, was part of the race car technology program, taught a lot of people about the nuts and bolts in race cars. One Bobby McCarty of Car Store fame was once a student of Randy Butner's, amongst a lot of other famous people. So a lot of people have learned from Randy Butner, and that extends to the racecraft as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's raced for 36 years, okay? Let's look at the modified point standings right now. And on top of the modified point standings right now, well, Burt Myers. You know, he's sitting in the catbird seat, and he's got his brother right to his backside right here.
Burt Myers with a 38-point lead on Brandon Ward, and then Chris Fleming is 67 points back. Ward is 4th, and Chris Fleming is, I believe, 8th by my count on the racetrack as they run. The choose cone has come out this time, so when they come back around, drivers have the opportunity to select whether or not they want to start on the inside or the outside. We have 48 laps up the board, so almost a third of the way through this Ag South Farm Credit 150 to close out the season for the Brad's Golf Cars Modified, or Modifieds at Bowman Gray Stadium. Jason Myers, Brandon Ward, and John Holloman, and Chris Fleming. Jinx, you owe me a soda, by the way, because that was perfectly timed. Jordan Fleming up there, Riley Neal, Daniel Beeson, Randy Butner, Junior Snow, the list of drivers that go to the outside for this restart that will come on lap 49.
We will tick off lap 50 as the modifieds come to life. 600 horsepower. Double file restarts. The fans are on their feet. The Myers brothers lead them down into the south turn. Side by side they go. Jason Myers on the top. Now can he close the door on Tim Brown? He does.
Tim Brown with the bumper 2-3 times to the rear of Jason Myers' machine, but he couldn't move Myers up, and they've stacked up a little bit further behind as well. The front 5 have started to escape away. Danny Bone, Chris Fleming for position. That would be for the 6th spot on the racetrack.
That was near disaster. We have a spinner. Slate Myers is around in turn number 4. Just before that, we saw Jordan Fleming tag the wall, looking to see if there's damage on his red 99, but the young rookie goes spinning. Doesn't hit anything, but the 4th generation superstar, Slate Myers in the Ben Gable Enterprises number 6 S&P Lemonade machine. I don't know, S&P Lemonade, if they brought them up here to us for free, could like, well, you got one, Mincy? What about us? What the heck, man? You know, like, oh, wait, Mincy says there is some. That might rival Little Donuts for us.
Justin Mincy has just pulled out a watermelon lemonade from S&P Lemonade that he had in addition to everything. So, but no, S&P Lemonade, tasty. Sounds really, really good right now, honestly. If we weren't a little bit preoccupied, I probably would be sipping on some S&P Lemonade watching this race.
Do you have more? Yeah, can I have one? I'm sorry if Derek was asking me a question, but I want a lemonade, man.
We are bartering
It's
here.
not cold, though. Yeah, it's not cold. I'm going to wait.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I'm bringing it home because I like S&P Lemonade. I'm going to be with my feet up on a Sunday. Well, no, I got to go to church, and I got to bring the kids somewhere. I forgot where it was, birthday party or something, whatever. But I'm going to have it in the fridge. I'm hoping that Erica, my wife, doesn't find it before I get home.
Would she get mad at you?
What?
If you had the lemonade?
No, if she doesn't know if I put it in the back of the fridge, we're good. That's what I'm going to do, dude. I got some strategy.
I was about to say, do you have a particular sort of crevice in the fridge where you can just hide stuff?
Yeah, the crevasse. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm going to hide it because that lemonade is good. I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like a sponsor plug guy, but it's good.
Would you drink it with some Little Donuts?
My gosh, imagine right now if Zach Taylor came through the door with some donuts. Let's stop talking about donuts because this is serious here. We've got the cone is out. The Myers brothers will go inside, outside of the front row again. A repeat of the last restart. Chris Fleming making some spots up here since he further, had the anchor back to the field earlier in the race.
Mike Spini, Daniel Beeson, Gerald Robinson Jr. also went to that high line. Not a lot of takers for that high line further back in the field. Lights off for the modern Chevrolet pace car. Jimmy Amsher pulls back into his place up in the north turn. 55 laps on the board. The Myers brothers all in control. The front row as we go back. Green flag racing.
A massive crowd here at Bowman Gray Stadium watches it. Burt Myers takes the lead again and shuffling up the accordion through the field. We've got side-by-side action happening back for fourth. Here comes Danny Bone to the outside of the 69. Trying his hardest is the young race car driver on the bottom, and Bone on the outside is really trying to muscle his way by. He doesn't do it.
Superman with a super effort to drive past Danny Bone and take full control of the 7th position here in the Ag South Farm Credit 150. As it stands, though, still the Myers brothers in control of this. They're first and second as that battle towards the middle of the field is calmed down a little bit. Looking for battles on the racetrack. Brandon Ward and Chris Fleming are getting a little bit tighter, and Mike Spini's been consistently able to gain position on drivers, and that's a theme I've noticed from that car in particular, that sometimes he doesn't end up with the best track position, especially once we get going at a green flag run, but he's been able to run people down. Hasn't quite gotten all the way, just with the way the cautions have fallen, but the 10 car has speed, and why not? He only went to Carolina Wood Floors victory lane 1 week ago. So Mike Spini currently in the 5th position, and then Holloman, and then Danny Bone with a good bump there, and now a battle proper, and what a move there from John Holloman to slam the door in Danny Bone's face. So how Matthew Dillner will that play out, knowing that John Holloman is not afraid to be aggressive?
No, he's not, and you might say right now where Holloman is, Dillner, he doesn't have a shot at the win 64 laps into this race. And that is not true. That is absolutely not true. With the double file choose cone restarts, anything is on the table here, depending on what falls left or right, or what falls in the center. You just don't know. And that's the glory of these double file choose cone restart races. The current top 4 of this race right now has 14 wins in this 150 lap season finale. From the top rope with the greatest statistics at Bowman Gray Stadium is Sir Justin Mincy of Thomasville. Mincy is pretty much the unofficial stat king of Winston-Salem's Bowman Gray Stadium, uncovering a lot of history that is not known about the stadium, and we thank him at the end of the season here for all that he does contribute to this broadcast, but most of all, what he contributes to Bowman Gray Stadium, because that's what we all have in common. James Pike announcing alongside me, a Winston-Salem native. Myself moving down here in 1999, first time coming here, falling in love with this racetrack that, in a weird way, reminded me of my roots. A bull ring, jet fighters in a gymnasium, just like Islip Speedway, red and white walls and the aesthetics. Sure, it wasn't a stadium as proper as this, but it brought me back to my roots. And it brought back that imagination I had as a child watching overpowered race cars on a bull ring. And these Winston-Salem fans get to see it every Saturday night.
It is the original NASCAR track, the very first one to receive a NASCAR sanction after the foundation of the sanctioning body in the 1940s, in a place that has the kind of history that I think suggests that somebody like Justin Mincy should be around all the time to be digging through these stats, because you have all of that information to sort through and all of that history to track that we'll get out into again in February as well when the Clash comes to town.
Oh boy, everybody's excited. Everybody in our pit area is talking about the NASCAR Cup Series returning to Bowman Gray Stadium with the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium February 2nd. Expect some announcements on what races will be joining the Cup Series pretty soon. I'm hearing rumors, but rumors are rumors, folks. Could we see the Brad's Golf Cars modifieds as we hit halfway?
And there are the cross flags from the flag stand. So Burt Myers, 75 laps down, 75 laps to go. There are two truths I know about Clash Weekend already, Matthew Diller. Number one,
that I'm going to be here.
Well, okay, 3. 1, I'm going to be here too. 2, I'm going to spend way too much money on merchandise for the class. And 3, I'm looking forward to making some cool videos on social media with my guy, Mamba Smith. Really, really excited about that. So here are the points as they run right now. Not much change from the last time we checked it on these. Burt Myers still in control of things by 38 points over Brandon Ward. Chris Fleming 55 back. Yep. So it would be a little bit of work. Brandon Ward has to finish at least 7 positions ahead of Burt Myers to have a shot at the title. Not impossible, but as it stands, there might need to be trouble or a change in things, and we may get one as the call 811 before you take caution has come out. Riley Neal is slow on the back straightaway, and I wonder if that may be the reason the yellow has been unfurled.
That will likely be your rookie of the year in the Brad's Golf Cars modified division right there is Riley Neal in that 07 car, who just ran a limited late model at Ace Speedway last night with a top 5 finish in his debut, even though old Dad made a little mistake with the tires, with the stagger, I heard. They were having fun with it in the pit area today, but still hung on. This is a very talented young man that, of course, captured a lot of wins in the sportsman division here last season in his sophomore season and graduated to the Brad's Golf Cars Modifieds. And he's really showing that he's got a lot of talent and poise because he was a little too, I'm just going to say it, opinion here, opinion. He was too highly touted. I think the kid had too much pressure put on him. We're going to go out there, we're going to win races. And it wasn't just, it was from his camp, but it was also from a lot of people around the pit area. Let the kid learn. And boy, oh boy, after a few weeks of some tough runs, he has settled in so nicely and is learning every week and doing it the right way. And that's what I'm most impressed with. It's almost like Carson Lofton in his first season in Southern Modified Racing, graduating to the full-powered Modifieds, of just not trying to do too much, but trying to complete laps. And that's what I'm most impressed with by Riley Neal. The path to stardom isn't always instantaneous.
And Riley Neal, also one of the sort of new generation drivers here at the stadium. Chase Robertson also falls into this camp that is not afraid to go turn laps on iRacing as well to try and get used to the modifieds. They've got Thor type mods on the sim, and currently you have a track like the Legends Oval at Charlotte Motor Speedway, which was based very heavily on Bowman Gray Stadium. It's not quite the same. There's a little bit more banking on the front stretch at Charlotte than there is here at Bowman Gray, but by and large, it's the same racetrack. So you can take the opportunity to run some laps there and gain some experience, and it does translate pretty well. And now that this track will be hosting the Clash next year, this now becoming a cup track, we don't know anything officially yet, but we know that iRacing did scan the Coliseum and add that track in to the sim as well.
Oh, the cone is coming out. There is the 69 car. Let's mention that he is was voted the most popular driver this year. So John Holloman, your most popular driver, as we hit the cone right now. Well, we don't hit it, but John Holloman, Chase Robertson, Jordan Atkins in the street stocks, and AJ Sanders in the stadium stock division, your most popular drivers. Choosing the outside, once again, no surprise, was Jason Myers. Also to the outside again, the number 104 of Brandon Ward. The battle will be on. Now, if the 4 can't get a good start here, you're going to see him try to get to the bottom, close the door on the 83. A repeat of what we've seen so far every restart. But you never know. Green flag is back out. Side by side go the Myers boys. And coming out of turn number 2, as we predicted, the 4 will make hay to the bottom. But here comes Brandon Ward, charging hard on the outside, efforting that gray machine like a rocket on the outside of the rocket. Now into turn number 1 and turn number 2. A battle royale is on for the 3rd position. Give it to Ward right now, but don't give up, says the number 83, as he noses the Hayes Jewelers rocket to the inside.
Brandon Ward actually had a halfway decent run coming into 2 right after the restart, but Jason Myers didn't get a good run off the corner, and he almost cleared Tim Brown. Instead, it's Brown that clears, and now Brandon Ward is trapped in the high line. The same way that Chris Fleming was not too long ago. Mike Speedy, we talked about the speed in that car pretty consistently. That car's now up to the 4th position. Ward has to wheel to get back in line and get back down to the bottom. But Mike Speedy consistently has worked his way through the field, started 11th, now running in the 4th spot, and now has a little bit of breathing room to go chase after Tim Brown and the Myers brothers.
All right, now the first time I ever went to Bowman Gray, it was like this. It was a 100-lap race, and it was stretched out, single car. And I was like, wow, you know what? This isn't very exciting, is it? But the moments just happen. You let them happen. Sometimes you get a little lull. And we might be in our lull period here, 88, now 89 laps on the board. But the restarts, and you just never know what's going to happen. This is the 35th edition of this 150-lapper. 19 different drivers, according to Justin Mincy, have won the race since its inception in 1988. Of course, we have the 199 historically. We've got the Hayes Jewelers 200, the Twin 50s, all sorts of different traditions here. The 150 started in 1988. Some great race car drivers back then, too. You know, your Philip Smiths and Satch Worley and just so many. So Ralph Brinkley, just unbelievable. Gary Myers. The number 5 of Randy Butner almost spun on the backstretch. There is the Flying Taco on the outside. The 00 machine holding off. No, he's not going to do it. Junior Snow gets a spot. Here comes Hutchins on the bottom. The Flying Taco, we did a fun little piece with him. So go on Flow Racing's social media. If you want to know about one of the great characters of the stadium, watch it because you know, he has a fire suit that's one of the most colorful in all of motorsports. And, you know, it's actually, you know, dedicated really, you know, before the passing of Scott Bloomquist. You know, he made that suit a little bit in honor of him.
I'm just generally here for the concept of a fire suit mimicking something else.
And it's a nudie suit also. Do you know what a nudie suit is?
Why don't you tell the fans at home?
It's not a suit that makes Danny Probst look nude. None of us need to see that. Maybe his wife. Not on any of us. A nudie suit is tailored after a designer in the Nashville country music scene with the last name of Nudie, who made these wild designs that were colorful and celebrated heritage of Western wear, you know, with carriages and cactuses and all sorts of things that, you know, so many people made famous in country music and became a style of its own. Well, the Flying Taco does have a style on its own.
He does indeed. And I want to see more fire suits like that, where if you've got a restaurant, you've got like a cooking apron, or if you've got a construction equipment company, you've got a sort of built-in vest of some form, or a tuxedo.
Kodiak has the tuxedo one sometimes.
The tuxedo fire suit. I love fire suits like that. They're just always more memorable to me. So more of that, please.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Hey, you know, can we talk about the leader right now? Can we talk, as we have 50 laps to go? There's John Holloman and Jordan Fleming. But the leader right now, let's talk about something we haven't spoken about. We have the leader right now. That's the points leader. And he is in the most safe position possible. But let's talk about the other reason why. Who is to the backside of that number 1 right now? It's the number 4 of Jason Myers, his brother. A little bit of brotherly pad there. Brotherly insurance as the buffer.
Well, you've got the fact that Jason Myers is the brother of Bert, but you've got the other fact, which is that Jason's been able to extend a small gap on Tim Brown every single time we've gone back to green flag racing, and Brown just has not been able to make that gap up. Now, we may see a different variable come into play here because Mike Speedy has clawed that gap all the way back, and now Speedy beginning to apply some pressure to Tim Brown for that 3rd spot. So Speedy may treat this a little bit differently, but we haven't seen anything of Tim Brown yet that suggests that he could go make a run at Jason Myers or Burt Myers. However, Tim Brown hasn't necessarily needed to go make a run at either of the Myers brothers yet, so we may not have seen the absolute best out of that 83 up to this point. I think that's also worth noting as we work lap 105 of 150. We probably have seen a good chunk of what Speedy is capable of. I don't know if we know exactly what the front 3 have. Also, on top of all of this, what kind of wear has Mike Spini put on his tires in driving as hard as he has just to get the track position to get to this point? Yes, his car has been fast, but does he have anything left to make a run at the top 3 when the time comes? That also has to be taken in consideration as we approach the final 40 laps.
It will be approaching some lap traffic. Final 50 laps. As Burt Myers. Oh, caution is out. Debris, it looks like, on the racetrack. But Burt Myers, Jason Myers, Tim Brown, Mike Spini, Brandon Ward. Update, because we don't have a ticker, of course, because we're at Bowman Gray. No timing and scoring. Chris Fleming sits in the 6th spot, 7th position for Danny Bone, 8th position for John Holloman, 9th position for Daniel Beeson, 10th position for Jordan Fleming.
I want to touch on that very briefly because
Yes.
normally we get the opportunity to touch on it on every Bowman Gray Stadium
Thank you.
broadcast on Flow Racing. I'm glad you brought that up a little bit later than normal tonight, but Bowman Gray does not have electronic timing and scoring. Instead, it's 3 officials in the tower in the suite next to us that hand score every single lap with pen and paper the old school way. It is an
It's
art
fun to
form.
watch.
It's an art form truly to watch them because there just aren't a lot of places that do it that way at this point. You see a lot of folks who move to transponders and electronic timing and scoring. Not
Which
yet
isn't
here.
perfect.
Yeah, and it has a different set of complications, but for that reason, there is no ticker that we have the ability to give you because there's no data to plug into to pull that information, unless I guess we found a way to connect electrodes to the brains of the officials. Maybe I don't know.
No, let's not do
Wildly
that.
complicated tech beyond what we're capable of.
Robert Pettit
But
here. I don't want to know what's going on. in
long
that
story
brain.
short, no long timing and scoring, so we'll have information up on the top of the screen, but we get the caution, we get the opportunity to show you that board, and there's as
Cone
official
is
as it
out.
gets.
Cone is out. Will Jason Myers choose the outside? He probably will. Jason Myers, Justin Mincy just wrote us a note that before climbing into his modified earlier today, he told Justin Mincy, I'm going to try to get Burt and move him if he's slower than me. I love Jason Myers, the working man. He's not, let's just say he's not PC, man. He just says what's on his mind. And that's what I like about him. He's unmistakably Jason Myers.
Myers goes top, as does Spini, as does Chris Fleming, John Holloman, Jordan Fleming, Junior Snow, and Randy Butner. The drivers that will start on the high line. Jimmy Amsher pulls the modern Chevrolet pace car back into its spot in the north turn. Restart to come with 40 laps to go. Burt and Jason yet again. But what does Mike Spini do now that he has some track position? That, I think, is the question a lot of us are going to watch at the front of the field, because that could get very entertaining. And Tim Brown, I think, knows it. And I wonder if Brown may ramp up the pressure on Jason Myers as a result.
Well, they're single file except for further back. You've got Danny Bone side by side with the showstopper, Chris Fleming on the outside. Chris Fleming, the black number 16, rolling the top right now, efforting his 16 Taylor Auto Parts car on the outside of Danny Bone, putting on a show for the fans.
But for how long can you run that outside lane before your tires start to give and you begin to lose track position? That's why Chris Fleming is back here in part in the first place. He tried to keep it up top, and he couldn't find any opportunity to get down to the bottom, and he lost 3 spots in the opening run, and he's been sort of around this 7th position ever since that initial run. So can Chris Fleming find a way to make this work, or does he end up getting into Danny Bone and maybe even losing more track position because those two have yet to come unglued from one another?
And wow, he does it from the outside, but he didn't close the door. Here comes Bone, trading some Nerf bars right there. Oh boy, side by side, they're sliding in the south turn. What a show by the showstopper on the outside, but now he gets to the back bumper of Bone, puts the chrome horn to him. Bone gets to position.
Also worth noting in all of this, John Holloman had the opportunity to go alongside Chris Fleming and chose to get in right behind that black and red 16 car. So Holloman wanted the inside as opposed to the opportunity to go door to door. I think that says a lot, Matthew, about just how much these drivers prefer the inside, how much stronger they think that inside lane is than the outside line, and how unwilling these drivers are to really go try and find some speed up on the high line.
Of note, the leader of our race, the number 1 of Burt Myers, is not only the points leader here at Bowman Gray Stadium, he sits second currently in NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Division National standings in the Division 1 category to Connor Hall, who you get to see a lot on the Cars Tour. He sits second. Zach Orr currently the leader in Division II national points and probably could have solidified that title tonight with his championship run. We will
Normally,
not know.
normally, traditionally at Bowman Gray, when you consider national points in the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series, drivers tend to do pretty well. If you run well at Bowman Gray, you usually finish somewhere in the top 5, top 10 of national points in your respective division. That's been consistent throughout the years here at the stadium. And I think that's a testament to just how competitive it is, that if you can win here, you can take your car and you can run with some of the best across the country.
Undoubtedly. Looking at the points right now, Burt Myers has it. Burt Myers has it. He right now wants us to stay green all the way in this 150-lap race, 125 laps in.
He does also want to give a warm welcome to modified driver Jeremy Gerstner, who's watching live on Flow Racing.
Oh, hey, buddy.
One of those characters that makes a modified pit.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, he was injured in a race practice for a race down at New Smyrna Speedway during Speed Weeks. Incredibly disturbing impact with the turn 1 wall, and was luckily able to recover from his injuries, and we're expecting him to get back in a modified before the end of the season. His car will be racing next week at New River All-American Speedway and Carteret Speedway for a doubleheader, and it'll be great to see Gerstner back at the track with his race car with Jay Crum behind the wheel, but he'll be back in it pretty soon. So Jeremy Gerstner, we love you, brother. Yellow flag is out. 129 laps into the race, and Burt Myers is sitting in his car, and that grin, chomping on the gum, it's not a grin right now. Anytime that caution comes out, he's going, dang it, dang it.
I can hear him saying that as you say it.
Dang it, man. Why's the caution out? That's my Burt Myers
I was about to
impersonation.
say, yeah, didn't know we had a Burt Myers impressionist amongst us here.
Well, I've spent a lot of time around him.
That's fair. Also worth noting, those modified races that Jeremy Gerstner's car is going to run in, you can watch them live on Flow Racing.
Yes, you can.
Next
Smart
weekend.
Modified Tour fires up. Of course, that tour intentionally stays away from Bowman Gray, because even that tour knows the significance of motorsports at this great venue. So that's an intentional thing by that tour. Of course, this is a NASCAR broadcast, and we, but Flow Racing has all sorts of goodies. High limit sprint cars tonight, Silver Dollar, Nationals. I mean, that's incredible. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. So much stuff you can see at Flow when the Bowman Gray season here is over. And of course, so much NASCAR Weekly Racing Series excitement from some great tracks in the touring divisions, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, ARCA, and just so much more. We're chock full of goodies, buddy. There it is. Look at this. The Bud Classic on Labor Day weekend, too. Smart Modified Tour.
Super Modified Capital of the World, Oswego Speedway.
Yes, yes. Yeah, look at that. Look at that packed weekend of events next week. Douglas County, of course, for the High Limit Tour. But the Bud Classic's the big one. Florence for the Cars Tour.
I'll be there for that.
Friday and Saturday night for the Smart Modifieds, as well as they re-enter their season for the Ground Pounders that you see on your screen now. But I'm a big fan of the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series and the shows that they put on.
They had a fabulous finish at Port Royal last night.
Yeah,
Was also watching
Karen
Silver Dollar
Alverson.
with High Limit last night as well. And also of note, a little bit further down the calendar, Cars Tour at South Boston and the Valley Star Credit Union 300,
Yes.
the biggest late model stock car race in the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series calendar. We are
And the close of
approximately
the Virginia Triple Crown.
we are 1 month away from that, and Lee Pulliam back in
I
a stock
love it.
car.
I mean, if that doesn't sell tickets, Lee Pulliam back in a late model stock car should sell tickets, just alone, just that. An absolute legend. But anytime you get late models at Martinsville, I love it. That is absolutely awesome. Modifieds at Martinsville, late models at Martinsville, that's what butters my bread. Here we go. Green flag is back out, coming to lap 133. Myers, that is Jason, with a good jump on the outside, fighting hard alongside his brother. Now he slams it down to the bottom, has plenty of room to do so. Brown gets into him a little bit, but gives him the room that he needs.
There are about 5 or 6 bumps there between drivers, and I couldn't tell who got into who or who started what. But what I do know is that Danny Bowman and Brandon Ward just bounced off of each other in the middle of the corner, and Bowman was able to secure the 5th spot. I believe that is John Holloman stuck up at the high line, and Brandon Ward struggling to get out of the north turn, but he'll complete the pass on Holloman, make the move up to 6th spot. Chris Fleming to 7th, Holloman now back to 8th, and potentially back to 9th if Junior Snow could complete the pass on the pink and black car.
Myers leads this race, 137 laps the next time we tick on the board. So far, the orange bumper, the legendary driver of the Citrus Safe #1, the driver they call the ace, has been all alone. The ace in the deck of cards at the top of the heap. But will that change? Will there be another caution? Will there be a charge by Tim Brown here? Right now, it doesn't look like that will be the case. Tim Brown right there in the number 16, right behind him of Chris Fleming, are 2nd and 3rd in points. And right now, they're helpless. They need something big to happen to Burt Myers for them to have a chance at the title. And now, here comes to the bottom, the show stopper with a little tip-tip-tap. Now they battle off the north turn, give the spot to Chris Fleming. That will be for the 6th spot. Junior Snow now to the bottom. The Snowman's Wagner Blinds is 70. Wakes up here late in the race.
Brandon Ward losing track position here when he needs to gain it to try and do something so far as the championship is concerned. But
8 laps to go.
Burt Myers beginning to run away with this in search of victory number 5 in this Ag South Farm Credit 150 in his career, with 5 laps to go, not too far away.
The fans right now are pretty calm because the lead is uncontested right now. And the driver, the #1, has had a season. Oh boy, has he had a season with 5 wins on the docket and a dominating performance here in the NASCAR Brad's Golf Cars Modified Division.
Clear of his brother Jason by about 2 or 3 car lengths, and there is history waiting for Burt Myers on the other side of this if he can get through the next 5 laps clean. If we go green the rest of the way, there should be a big celebration for Myers Brothers Racing in the not too distant future.
Myers, Brown, Speeney, Bone, Chris Fleming, Brennan Ward, the Snowman, John Holloman, and now Slate Myers. That is how they run with just 3 laps to go.
Good run for Slate Myers tonight. He's been involved in a lot of fun battles, and I think has learned a lot this season, and clearly is going to be a fixture, I think, for a long while.
Everybody knows the moment, and everybody's anticipating it. And as I look below us, Pike, I see the crowd rising to their feet because the white flag is out. One more trip down the back straightaway. The history book is always open at Bowman Gray Stadium, and the pen is always busy. And tonight, Burt Myers etches his name in as an 11-time champion of Bowman Gray Stadium. The Myers legacy continues at the Madhouse. 1-2 finish for the brothers Myers, and that unmistakable Myers grin now from the cockpit as he will get the stitched checkered flag for win 97, but more importantly, 98 in his career, 97, but more importantly, his 11th track championship at Bowman Gray Stadium.
Slate coming in to celebrate with him.
Isn't that great?
Title number 1 for car number 1.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. Like, usually Slate, as a little kid, would be down there with his dad as a fan. Like, those fans are starting to enter right there. And he'd be down there, and he always had a cardboard cutout of championship number 8, championship number 9. Well, Slate's a competitor now. I teased him today. I said, hey, are you going to have the cardboard cutout? I was like, man, that's a good point. I don't know. But Burt Myers is your champion. His 6th win of the season. Pure domination by the driver of the Citrus Safe Peanut Patch. Pavline Leisure, Backyard Leisure, #1. Let's go down to the celebration. It's going to be a mob scene in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for the Walnut Cove. Ace, your champion.
Bert, getting congratulations from his wife, Kim. Sat on the pole, fastest qualifier, led all 150 laps. Took home the 6th win of the season, 97th in his Bowman Gray career. But tonight it's all about championship number 11 for Bert Myers. Get loud, Madhouse. He's about to climb out of the cockpit. Got a cold bottle of water. We know what's going to happen with that. Here he comes, race fans. Number 11. There it is, race fans. Bert, we talked about it in pre-race. Fastest qualifier, check. Win the race, check. 11th Bowman Gray Stadium Championship, check. Congratulations, Bert.
Thanks, man. This is what you dream of. You know, there's been championships that we were able to win, but you had to kind of play the game and fall in line. The car started getting away from me at the end, but I think everybody did. So Myers won 2 and a championship. It don't get much better than this, man.
That's great, Bert. You could not do this without your sponsors. It just doesn't happen. Share with us your sponsors, my friend.
You're not going to rush me tonight.
Nope.
No, not tonight. Greg Butcher Trucking, VP, Napa, Tilton, Triangle Fitness. Let's move down. Backyard Leisure, Citrus Safe, MJ, RE, Shocks and Radio, Walkertown Girls Softball, Little Donuts, Eric and Scott at Choice, Ideal Baby, Haviland. This PSR car for 2 years now has been unbelievably fast. We just weren't able to put it together last year. But man alive, I want to also thank Bryson Brother Aero Solution. These guys, man, we don't quit. We don't quit. We just keep digging. I want to thank Bubba's Speed Shop. I want to thank Philip Smith, the Big Puss, NASCAR Institute. John Dotson's here tonight. Man, this is unbelievable. And I'm going to enjoy this ice cold SP lemonade tonight.
That's some good stuff. Bert Myers, ladies and gentlemen, give him congratulations.
Bert Myers, your champion of the NASCAR Modified Division of Bowman Gray in 2024. And with that win, we are told, is his 98th overall, tying him for 2nd place in the all-time wins list with the great sportsman driver, Jimmy Johnson. Let's take a quick break on Flow Racing. We'll be back. We have 2 more titles to crown on Flow Racing. Let's go.
Once again, Bert Myers is going to pick up the Mont P-Rock Car Group Modified Top Gun Award. Once again presented by Luke Dover, manager of Mont P-Rock Tire and Automotive of Country Club Road. It's a $1,000 prize that's awarded by Mont P-Rock Tire Group to the driver who has won the most modified division races this season, the ace, Bert Myers.